Νομίζω ότι σε όλα τα πράγματα στη ζωή,
I think that for everything in life, and of course in marriage, the way we look at things is crucial.
η ματιά με την οποία το βλέπουμε. Εάν κάποιος εξ αρχής τον γάμο τον βλέπει σαν κάτι...
If someone sees marriage as something tiring, as something boring, or as a commitment, or as something that will deprive them of their freedom, etc., obviously they will not be able to rise to the demands of marriage and its true meaning.
Χρειάζεται και θέλει και είναι ο γάμος. Εδώ λοιπόν, εμένα προσωπικά πολύ...
I am honestly very overwhelmed each time I am deemed worthy to officiate the sacrament of marriage. With the introductory part, what we unfortunately often overlook, maybe we don't understand its importance. At that moment, the priest approaches the couple to accept them into the sacrament. Then he asks the bride first if she wants the groom, and then the groom if he wants the bride.
Και ρωτά ο ιερεύς την ύφη πρώτα, εάν θέλει τον νυμφίο. Και στη συνέχεια τον νυμφίο, εάν θέλει την ύφη.
Outwardly, it may look like an influence of Hollywood movies. Maybe that's why it is left out a lot of time. I do, and so on. It may seem folkloristic and cheesy. Humbly, I consider that, in our reality, what happens there is earth-shattering.
Φρονώ ότι στη δικιά μας πραγματικότητα είναι ένα συγκλονιστικό γεγονός που συμβαίνει εκείνη την ώρα.
What is happening, essentially? The free choices in Christ by each member of the marriage to give the other one their own freedom as a gift of love. That greatest of all gifts that God has given to men is voluntarily offered to the other one in marriage.
Το δώρο της ελευθερίας που ο Θεός έχει δώσει, τα μεγαλύτερα δώρα, έρχεται εκούσια ο κάθε ένας μέσα στη συζυγία να το προσφέρει στον άλλον άνθρωπο. Και εδώ θυμόμαστε τον Άγιο Πορφύριο.
Let's remember Saint Porphyrios, who said that the one who loves gives. If he loves a little, he will give a little. If he loves a lot, he will give a lot. And if he loves very, very, very much, he will offer himself. This is what happens in marriage, but not in a sense of self-abolition. It's not about self-eradication, not about becoming each other's marionette. It is about sharing one's own freedom with each other. I offer my freedom to you out of love, and vice versa. That is how communion works. This unity, which is so much promoted in marriage, the unity of souls and bodies, the unity of persons. So that's how the sacrament begins. The whole mystery is a stunning experience for someone who really understands and lives it. And it characterizes how our church wants people's relationships to be within marriage. Relationships of mutual respect, relationships of sacrifice, relationships of serving, relationships of giving, all the things that love is made of.
Σχέσεις προσφοράς, όλα αυτά που συνθέτουν την αγάπη. Και έρχεται και λοιπόν ο Απόστολος, το Αποστολικό.
Then comes the reading of Ephesians chapter 5, along with some habits that have developed. For example, the bride hears the verse, "Let the wife see that she reverence her husband." She steps on his foot, and everyone laughs. This is, of course, ridiculing the sacrament a bit. Of course, we are misinterpreting again what truly happens there. By that time, the church had set for the man 3 very serious conditions. As the New Testament puts it, let the wife see that she reverence her husband. Well, if you allow, I would like to comment that the word ina in the original Greek text can be also translated to so that. That would mean, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, so that the wife reverence her husband. So what is required for the woman to reverence her husband? 3 things, says Paul himself earlier. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church. How did Christ love the church? He gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and so on. So, what did Christ do for the church? He sacrificed himself, and so the husband is called to do. To sacrifice himself for his wife, and also to take care that she remains without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish. This love asks for so much care of the husband towards his wife. And, of course, what we forget easily is that the Apostle Paul expects the man to be ready, to leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, to break this strong bond he has to his parents in order to be united with his wife. So men who love their wives as their own bodies take care and sacrifice themselves for them like that, and are ready to leave their parents, get the reverence from their wives naturally. St. John Chrysostom writes about it very beautifully, and anybody who wants to can easily delve into it. But before I start, I want to address a misconception. We should not be afraid of some words. Verse 22 of Ephesians, chapter 5. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands, is often understood as the church expecting the woman to submit to her husband. But why does this submission frighten us? While at the same time, we have secular songs that gaze at secular human love saying, "I'll be your slave forever." Why does that not scandalize us? Because we're obviously not talking about any servile submission. We are talking about the eagerness to offer oneself to the other one in Christ. Well, because many people get that wrong, they accuse the church of degrading the woman, of considering her inferior to the man. I will not address every metaphor used for expressing those wrong beliefs, like the man is the head while the woman is the neck and so on. But I will say this, from my little knowledge of these matters. I think that the church does recognize a primacy to the man, which is not a primacy of authority, but a primacy of service. When, therefore, a lead is given to the man, if I may say so, the church does not do this for him to dominate over the woman, but rather for him to go ahead, to support her, so that together they may move forward toward what, as we said, is the purpose of marriage, theosis. So, what St. John Chrysostom writes about that particular apostolic reading, which could be a daily reading for all those who are married as a source for the renewal zest, and of all those feelings which once overwhelmed both of them. St. John Chrysostom asks the man to express his love, to show his love with his whole existence. That's what a woman needs, warmth. That feeling that her husband loves her, and wants her, and desires her, and needs her, and shows her that in every way. Unfortunately, speaking from my experience of the sacrament of confession, a big problem is that men are often cold and distant, and they have difficulties in expressing their feelings, which is completely wrong. So this is what the Apostle Paul is asking from the husband. And from the woman, he asks for reverence. So, should the husband not respect his wife? Of course he should, as well as the woman should also express her love for her husband. But what the psyche of each one needs might differ a bit. The woman, in order to feel whole and complete, must feel that her husband loves her, and experience this every day. The man, on the other hand, must feel that his wife respects him, and that this respect is a given. I believe that when a couple enters a process of learning to love each other as they are, rather than as they expect the other to be, without demands, expectations, or aspirations, they are, in essence, imitating Christ. Christ loves me as I am. He places no conditions, no prerequisites on his love. He loves me, accepts me, forgives me. So that's what I do in marriage. Since it's a path to theosis, I'm invited to imitate Christ by loving my spouse as my spouse is.
Αγαπώντας πρώτα απ' όλα τον άνθρωπό μου όπως είναι.